Okay, let me interrupt. I know we're just getting started, right? But you guys, it's a Sunday. It's about 11:30. I'm going to try to crank this out pretty quick. It might be long because I've got some stories and some stuff to talk about. Okay, but just this is going to be just, I hope, just pure entertainment. And, you know, stories and just a mishmash of weird, wacky stuff. This channel's like a box of chocolates. You never know what kind of crazy stuff you're gonna get, right? So, excuse me, grab a beverage. I've got my cocktail again because it's a Sunday. All right, let's go. Okay, hi you guys. FedEx is right outside my door right now, delivering my big batteries. I heard some noise out there, so I went out there, and yeah, sure enough, he's putting my big batteries on the front step. All right, I put a table out there with a $10 tip. You know, one of those just cheap plastic folding tables with a sign that says, would you mind putting them on here? Because it's easier to lift from waist level, right? Instead of from down, you know, at your feet, right? So I went out there and I'm like, dude, you know, just being honest, I have a table on my deck with a $10 tip for you. I have cancer, so I'm just being honest, you know, I have a hard time lifting stuff. So if you want the tip, he's like, you know, super nice kid, you know? No, he's not built like Arnold. Like, oh yeah, it's no problem. I'll just, you know, I'll put those over there. You know, it's no problem, man. You know, nice kid. So he's like, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And he said, oh, I hope you're doing okay. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I've got 2 chemos left, and so I'm getting toward the end of treatment, and, you know, and so we, you know, bantered and talked a little bit, you know, and so just nice kid. And so I don't know if you're supposed to, you know, tip your delivery drivers. It's like, but these things were heavy, and he didn't use my cart. He just, you know, brought them over by hand. I don't know if he thought it was faster or whatever, but he's carrying these things across the street. I went out and got my mail this morning. That's another story. I want to talk about that. Yeah, so the batteries are, I have to go out and get them off the table now and bring them in here. And, you know, I put protein powder in my coffee this morning, so I feel strong today. Okay. So, so you're going to see like some boxes like disappearing and reappearing, you know, cause I'm editing. And I want to put stuff together, but I put a thing out on the community tab, you know, just kind of explaining what's going on, and I'm waiting for these batteries, and I'm not sure I've got the stamina to, you know, bring them in here. So those of you that left comments like, dude, don't overdo it. You know, they're heavy, you know, ask for help. And I'm okay doing that. In fact, a neighbor reached out to another neighbor that I haven't met, like down the street this way. Break. Sorry, break. But he's a weightlifter at the U of M. So she's like, he'll come over and help you, you know? And I'm like, yeah, but to have somebody come in my house, I'm really embarrassed, you know, with all this crap around here. So anyway, thanks for your comments, you guys. I still need to get back to you, but don't overdo it. Know your limits. And yes, I know my limits. And I actually studied kinesiology for a while, how muscles and your skeletal structure work. When I was doing like lifting back in the day, what muscle does what? You know, that type of thing. So yes, lift with your legs, not your back, right? That's the one thing I've got going for me. I've always had a really strong back. Well, there was a time way back in the day I was over helping a friend, and I was lifting my generator up into the truck, and I lifted and I turned, and I was on the ground. It's like that was a long recovery. Anyway, blah blah blah. So I've got a strong back. Just my muscles are not the way they used to be. You know, my quads. I went downstairs and did laundry this morning. Well, going down, and this is this is kind of the weird thing. I've been in this house for 12 years, and I want to talk about something that's been really bugging me. Just being honest, I'll get to it later, but something that's been bugging me for since I think the last video. I'm in a pretty humble house. This house was built in 1958. It's a Rambler. It's very, basic, right? But built like a rock. They don't build them like this anymore. Lath and plaster, the old-fashioned cove ceilings, rock solid, right? So, but anyway, they say never ever talk about your personal finances on YouTube, but I do want to, because it's been kind of bugging me, you guys. But anyway, so this is the first time since I moved in that I had to go down the steps one at a time, because I knew I had to do this. So I didn't want to end up in urgent care and leave my batteries outside so they freeze in Minnesota. That is the correct pronunciation, by the way. No, put the boat behind the house and then come in for hot dish and some lutefisk. You betcha. So that's a stereotype. Just stop it. All right. So where was I? But yeah, I want to. Well, you know what? Let's do it now. Let's get this out of the way. What really bugged me, what's been bugging me, you guys, is I don't know if it was the last video or the one before, but I did this intro where I showed my big stereo equipment, and I used to be an audio tech and blah blah blah, and you've seen this thing. Guess what? That thing was free. A band gave me that. This big stage subwoofer, right? That I hook up to my bass. The only reason I bought a bass was because of Danny on the Partridge Family. Hello world is the song that we're singing. Come on, right? When I was a kid, I idolized him, and then he got in all kinds of trouble as an adult, right? But yeah, so and that was back in the day. Brady Bunch, Partridge Family on Friday nights, right? Brady Bunch, Partridge Family, and I think it was Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea or something. Or what I remember is NBC's Circle of Fear. That's a really obscure one. Do-do-do, do-do-do. Or was that Time Tunnel? Can't remember. Leave a comment. But back in the day, my parents would let me actually go downstairs on a Friday night, watch my favorite shows with a sleeping bag and a box of Pop-Tarts. And I would sleep down there until, I'd watch my shows until I fell asleep. So in the Saturday morning, all the Pop-Tarts were gone. So, all right. So, ADD, sorry, attention deficit. I go off on tangents. All right. So what's been bugging me? I showed you all that equipment. All right. And so the equipment that's over there, those big speakers, and I've got a couple of big Yamaha A5 stage speakers, and then another set of big Infinity Gorgeous. I got those from my sister who passed away. All right. And there's a really awesome subwoofer sticking underneath my, not that thing, but there's a subwoofer underneath my desk here. A Velodyne, I got that for free from my sister too. All the other stuff, very dangerous. Facebook Marketplace. I got all of that stuff for like 50% of what, you would spend full price. All right. So my point is, you guys, I don't make six figures. All right. So when I talk about my truck and my trailer and buying $2,000 worth of batteries, $2,000 is a lot of money for me. All right. I don't want to, and I know some of you are going to comment, you don't need to explain anything to us, right? So, and you've said it before, so thank you. But it's more for me just to, I don't know. I just don't want to give you guys the wrong impression. Like, and I'm not bragging, all right? And I think you know that. It's like, I just really enjoy my stuff, okay? Even though I got it, most of it for free, or, I don't pay. I'm very frugal, all right? Believe it or not. I mean, Honey Bun, she was like, right? No, she was like, what were you? And I think she was like $15 or something. But anyway, and she hasn't said a lot for a while. But, right, Eva?
She doesn't like drawing attention.
Well, yeah, that's true. But does that make sense, you guys? Okay, this is a true interruption. I was going off on all kinds of tangents, and so I just deleted a bunch of stuff. Now, it's starting to get late. It's almost 4 o'clock. I'm going slow. Now, do you notice anything different in here? Yeah. Just wrestling these things out of the packaging. Man. No, I did the smart thing. I put them on the countertop, and I cut the end off the box and just slid them out. All right. So, but do you guys get any idea how, or get a feel for how big these things are? And so I was making a point. Who in their right mind spends $2,000 on batteries? So if you're just joining me, my plan is I'm retiring in 3 years, going in my trailer full time out in the middle of nowhere. So if I'm in Arizona and it's 105, these things will power my air conditioner all day. All right. So it's an investment. All right. Why am I doing it now? And I touched on it a little bit, but by the way, these things came packaged like to the nth degree, right? Like big, Why am I doing it now? Well, here's why. Whoops. Yeah. Right? These things will be probably $300 more in a year. Because somebody, I'm not going to say his name, and if you know how tariffs actually work, we pay the tariff. China does not pay the tariff. I might go off on a rant. Look it up. That's how they work. All the top economists are like, oh, geez. I'm not going to get into it, all right? We don't do politics on the channel, but this is a preemptive thing, right? So I was kind of forced into doing this now. And I ordered my solar panels. That's another thing. And by the way, I've been putting money into savings for years. And so I transferred money from savings to, my credit card. And so it's fine. It's fine. All right. So, I'm going slow. One big battery at a time comes in here. I'm half done. I got 2 more to go. So anyway, you guys, the point I was trying to make, and here's another story. I need to make another beverage. Hang on.
He should go grab another battery, right?
So Ava yelled at me and she said, go get another battery, so.
It was just a suggestion.
Well, the tone you used.
Okay, maybe a little.
So yeah, I got another battery in here. Yeah, manhandle, but I'm doing okay. I'm going slow. I hope I get this video out tonight or, today. Now, this whole, my audio equipment and my house being very humble and all that. My point is, I learned a huge lesson in humility and pride. All right. So fresh out of college, 1986, to give you an idea. I talked about it before, but I started programming on punch cards. So, BS degree in computer science and business administration, because I thought I might want to start my own company. So I did that. I incorporated in 1989, Subchapter S Corporation. All right, so started this little company, computer support, running around Hastings, Minnesota, back then, kind of a small, rural town, right? And word got out. The company took off. I became very popular because everybody talks in a small town, right? You do a good job. I did very little advertising. It was all word of mouth. Having problems? Okay, call Jim. He'll take care of you. So 18 years I did that. So early on, my first marriage, all right? I'm still winded. Just doing that. My first marriage failed because of me. It was my fault. All right. So the company took off, and when I shut it down and went to public sector, so I work for the government now, right? I'm okay. I'm okay, you guys. Don't worry. No worries. All right. So public sector, city, county, which is me, state, and then federal, right? International symbol for, public sector. I don't work for someone or a company that's making a profit, all right? Back then, my whole mindset was profit, all right? Providing for my family. And early on, my first wife and I, we sat down. She was working for West Publishing back in the day, materials for attorneys, right? And later, I was installing their software for attorneys, all right? But we sat down, and it's like, okay, we're pregnant, all right? And so the company was starting to do pretty well, to the point where I could support us, in an apartment. I think we were in an apartment at that point. And so we made the decision, she would quit and raise the kids, and then I would, run my company. And, so we ended up building 2 brand new houses. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, the company did really well. Apparently I'm easy to talk to. And, I remember being very intimidated walking into this big brick building, so-and-so, law firm. And, but I just went in and, nice to meet you. I'm Jim. And I shook the hands of all the partners, So what's going on? And they're like, well, our computers are old, and, we want to upgrade, and we want to set up a network, and we want to do all this stuff. And as a consultant, it's like, okay, I'm going to send you an email. I'm going to run some numbers, A, B, and C. You choose. I'm not going to tell you what to do. A is like, cheap, save a bunch of money. Or B, actually, I would do B if I were you. But C would be, let's just go for it and get, really big, nice stuff, right? So, and I was just very, not condescending. I talked their language, and I actually ended up making all kinds of really good friends. running this company. And it was a blast, you guys. I drove all over the place, all over the Twin Cities area, down to Northfield, all over the place. Anyway, so the company was very lucrative, all right? I'm not bragging, but company bonus, like a car with like vinyl graphics on the side and stuff. But what happened was 16 years later, the cars got better and better and fancier, right? With the company name on it. My pride and my ego took over, all right? So the first marriage failed. She kept the house, which is what I wanted, beautiful house. Because I wanted my kids not to be uprooted, and I wanted them to stay. So then I moved out, and it was hard, all right? So then second marriage was a total mistake. She saw me coming a mile away. Kind of a long story. I'll just do it real quick. A mutual friend said, "Oh, she's having trouble with her computer. Can you go over and help her?" I'm like, "Sure." So I went over and, we hit it off, like just, laughing and talking, just highly intelligent. But we started dating. And, but when I went over there to her apartment, she said, "So what do I owe you?" And I'm like, "Well, no, you bought pizza." And this was kind of a, she knew I was coming, kind of a first date kind of a thing. So don't worry about it. And she's like, "Well, what would you have charged me?" And I'm not going to tell you my rate, per hour, but she's like, well, I don't remember what she said, but her ka-ching, and she probably heard from my other friend. So she saw me coming a mile away. I was naive, very trusting, very, what's another word? Gullible. You would think after she told me that she had had 4 other husbands, and I would be husband number 5. If it was you, would that get your attention a little bit? So anyway, very smooth talker, really very articulate, just really good at, and we had a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, we had a lot of fun, but embezzlement, lying, as soon as you catch your spouse in like a pretty serious lie, for me, it's over. Trust is done, right? So that did not end well. So my point is, I went from like having it all, right? Beautiful house, brand new camper, new cars, blah, blah, blah. I ended up in a 1-bedroom apartment for 14 years. I think I was in that 1-bedroom apartment for 14 years. Loved it. After the second divorce, that's when I switched over to public sector. I shut my company down, upset a lot of people. I had 700 clients when I shut down. Not bragging. Hospitals, attorneys, CPAs, realtors, construction, the whole thing. Shut it down, went to public sector, took a 2/3 pay cut, okay? And best thing I ever did, because now I have a pension, all right? So between, Social Security, I don't know, you guys, Social Security and my pension, I've run the numbers, I'll be fine when I go on the road full time in my trailer, all right? Gas, probably the biggest expense, all right? Food, campgrounds, propane, very little of that because most of the stuff is going to be electric in the camper, right? induction cooktops instead of, excuse me, instead of propane, which is dangerous. I've seen videos of people driving down the road. They're bouncing around. Excuse me. Their oven door opens and it bumps a knob on the oven and their oven starts up and it burns their trailer down. So my rig is going to be pretty much all electric. All right. So my point is going from woohoo, look what I can do, to like now in a very, I love my house. 1958 original hardwood red oak flooring, you know. I paid to have them come in and refinish the floors because here's the deal. I talked about my mailbox early on. This house was pre-foreclosure. It was beat up. Okay, so I went off on another tangent about who I bought this house from. That's another video. So anyway, the mailbox. This morning, I went to the mailbox, got my estimated property taxes statement, right? But guess what? Pre-foreclosure. I saved this house from foreclosure. Actually, kind of a sad story, you guys. The gal I bought it from, early dementia, you know, cognitive, you know, but that's a whole nother story. But I just got my property tax statement. I bought this house and they say, don't tell people what, you know, I bought this house for $165,000. All right. Now this is property taxes. This is not a realtor coming in here and doing an assessment. All right. But, according to this piece of paper, $270,000, because I am in an awesome neighborhood. I'm the rowdiest one in here with my motorcycle and, you know, my speakers that rattle the windows, right? I do that during the daytime, not at night, you guys. But it's like, that's pretty darn good profit, you know, for being here for 12 years, right? So that's the plan. Sell the house. I think my son, one of my sons, might buy my house, and I'm going to give him like a good deal on this place because I don't need $100,000 cash to go on the road full time. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. So do you get what I'm saying? And I knew, because you know, I like to think I'm a little bit smart. So I did a ton of research, and yeah, if you can find a foreclosure property and do, you know, I like to think of myself as, you know, fairly handy. I know how to fix stuff. I've got like a full wood shop in the basement, but, so yeah, so I think I've got this figured out. A chunk of money in the bank. I don't know how much, but and by the way, leave the curb debt free. I bought the truck and trailer 3 years ago. By the time I leave the curb, the trailer and the truck will be paid off. All right. Not bragging. I'm just saying, I want to be smart about this. Okay. So, anyway, let's keep going. All right. How's your beverage doing? Does that make sense? So 3 more years here, and then, I hope, depending on, you know, how chemo goes and, you know, all of that and surgery and all that. So anyway, how do I end this on a positive note here? Because I try to leave you guys with a little bit of humor so I don't, you know, leave you like, aww. So, but I guess I was just really kind of brutally honest. I guess maybe that's good enough. I don't know. But anyway, I appreciate all of you. You know that. And thanks for sticking around this long. Where are we at? Don't know. Don't care. But I have another battery to go wrestle into the house. All right, so do some wrestling on your own. All right, so wrestle something. It's good for you. All right, you guys, got to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, love you. All right, bye. Talk to you later.